Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samar News. Here are today's headlines. European leaders have sharply criticized President Donald Trump's plan to impose tariffs on 8 allies over his Greenland takeover proposal. Trump announced a 10% tariff on goods from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, and Finland, starting 1st February, warning it could rise to 25% until a deal on Greenland is reached. He called Greenland strategically vital for US security, citing missile early warning systems and Arctic monitoring. European leaders condemned the move. French President Emmanuel Macron called it unacceptable. UK PM Keir Starmer said it was completely wrong. And EU President Ursula von der Leyen said it undermines sovereignty and damages transatlantic ties. President Donald Trump has vowed to impose escalating tariffs on 8 European nations in a bid to pressure them over Greenland. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said the United States would introduce an additional 10% import tariff from February 1st on goods from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Finland, and Britain. The move intensifies a growing dispute over Greenland, as President Trump insists the United States must be allowed to buy the Danish territory, already the focus of diplomatic tensions with European allies. Protesters in Denmark and Greenland have rallied against US President Donald Trump's demand that the Arctic island be ceded to the United States, calling for Greenland to determine its own future. President Trump says Greenland is vital to US security because of its strategic location and mineral resources, and has not ruled out the use of force. European countries have sent military personnel to Greenland this week at Denmark's request, amid rising tensions. Indonesian rescuers discover debris from a missing ATR 42500 conducting fisheries surveillance near Mount Bulusarong, South Sulawesi. The plane, carrying 8 crew members and 3 ministry staff, lost contact Saturday en route from Yogyakarta to Makassar. Wreckage, including a plane window, fuselage parts and tail, was spotted Sunday morning, though fog, strong winds, and steep terrain are hampering recovery. Over 1,200 personnel, helicopters, drones, and ground teams are involved in the operation. Data indicates the plane rapidly lost altitude about 20 kilometers northeast of Makassar Airport. Investigation into the cause is ongoing. US President Donald Trump unveiled plans for a Board of Peace to involve world leaders in resolving global conflicts, with him as inaugural chairman. Initial invitations went to leaders including Erdogan, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, Ursula von der Leyen, and others. A report suggested nations would need to pay $1 billion to join, but the White House denied this, calling it misleading. Membership will be offered to countries showing a commitment to peace and security. The board will focus on the Middle East, especially Gaza, overseeing governance, reconstruction, and investment through a technocratic committee, the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, NCAG. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has accused US President Donald Trump of inciting weeks of deadly protests in Iran. Khamenei said Washington bears responsibility for the unrest, which rights groups claim has killed more than 3,000 people. Iranian state media quoted Khamenei as calling the US president criminally responsible for the casualties and damage suffered by the Iranian nation. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has said that she is confident that the remnants of what she called Venezuela's criminal regime would eventually be dismantled and there would be an orderly transition to free elections, but cautioned that the road ahead would be difficult and complex. Machado branded Venezuela's new leader a communist and said Rodriguez is afraid of Trump and holds an unsustainable position as head of a system that is repressive but does not include the military. A Chinese reconnaissance drone has briefly flown over the Taiwan-controlled Pratas Islands at the top end of the South China Sea on Saturday, in what Taiwan's defense ministry called a provocative and irresponsible move.
The ministry said the Chinese reconnaissance drone was detected around dawn on Saturday, approaching the Pratas Islands, and flew in its airspace for 8 minutes at an altitude outside the range of anti-aircraft weapons. China's military has said it has followed and monitored the transit of guided missile destroyer USS Finn and oceanographic survey ship USNS Mary Sears through the Taiwan Strait on January 16th and 17th. In an official WeChat account, a spokesman for the Eastern Theatre Command of the People's Liberation Army said it remains on high alert at all times to resolutely defend national sovereignty and security. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samar.tv. Thank you for watching Samar News.